It's a historic night for your Dallas Mavericks as they look to advance to the NBA Cup semifinals as they take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. We get you ready for the game coming up next here on the DLS MAVS pregame show. Here we go. Hey, what's up, DLS MAVS Nation? It's your man, Kevin Gray, alongside Mavericks beat writer Tim Cato, Mavericks analyst Bobby Carella. We are DLS MAVS, your favorite guys covering your favorite team every single game night at Kevin Gray Sports, at Tim_Cato, at Bobby Carella. Really appreciate you joining us here on our pregame show. A historic night for your Dallas Mavericks as they take on the Oklahoma City Thunder in the NBA Cup quarterfinal tonight. The winner advances to Las Vegas for a chance to try to play for the Emirates NBA Cup. We'll get you ready here over the next half hour for tonight's game. Who's in, who's out, X factors, and what you need to know going into tonight's game, gentlemen, as the Dallas Mavericks, who are on a 7-game winning streak, looking for their 8th straight win, a season-high 8 games above 500 at 16-8, taking on arguably the hottest team outside of the Mavericks in the Western Conference in the Oklahoma City Thunder, a team that has won 3 in a row and 7 of their last 8 games themselves. It should be a hell of a night at Oklahoma City for tonight's matchup.
So Don Carter is the original owner of the Dallas Mavericks, the person who brought them into existence. There's a infamous story, not infamous, it's just famous. It's a famous story about how he kind of brought them into he wrote down the terms of creating the Dallas Mavericks on a napkin, on a diner napkin. That was back in 1980. It is incredible. 40-plus years into this franchise, they've never been to an NBA Cup semifinals. Not once. This is an incredible night. Every Mavericks fan everywhere should feel just a mixture of relief and joy and pride that they have finally, 44 seasons into the franchise history, finally made it this far. It's amazing.
Bobby, you suffered through several years of non-NBA Cup quarterfinal, semifinal appearances. What does this night mean to you to see the Mavericks have a chance to advance to Las Vegas for the NBA Cup?
Kevin, I grew up watching a Mavs team that couldn't even make it to the Western Conference quarterfinal. All right, so the NBA Cup quarterfinal is really a dream come true. No, I don't want to besmirch the good name of the NBA Cup or of the Emirates, whatever it is that they do. I think it's an airplane company.
They don't pay us.
Nope, that's right. Well, then I will besmirch their good name. The NBA Cup is
just not saying it.
No, it's a cool tournament. It's obviously the hype for this game is just out of this world. The NBA, I honestly, I don't think there could be a better matchup for in either conference. You know, two rivals. I think that Mavs Thunder, if they're not already rivals, they will be probably after tonight.
Agreed.
Meeting in the conference semifinals last year, and Luka v. Shai, and now OKC's got a couple big men healthy, or at least one big man healthy. So it should be a great game, and there's drama, and there's storylines, and there's all sorts of hard feelings. There's a lot of molding on Twitter from media and fans alike. It's great. I love it.
It is a budding rivalry in the NBA. As Bobby mentioned, the team in the Dallas Mavericks that beat the Oklahoma City Thunder in the Western Conference semifinals a year ago to advance on to the West Final before eventually taking out the Minnesota Timberwolves. Meanwhile, the Oklahoma City Thunder, the prohibitive favorite in the Western Conference coming into the season, they have lived up to the billing so far this year. A team that's 18-5 so far, 9-2 at home. The Dallas Mavericks 8-5 away from the American Airlines Center, a 4.5-point dog coming into tonight's quarterfinal. But the Mavericks, the hottest team in the league, we mentioned it, having won 7 straight, winning 11 of their last 12 games. And oh, by the way, they're cooking on the road as well. Winners of 7 of their last 8 games on the road. So they're doing it at home, away from home, crisscrossing the country. The Mavericks have been playing extremely well. Tonight marks their 5th road game, by the way, in the last 6 games that they've played overall, as the Mavericks are looking to advance to the semifinals of the NBA Cup. Meanwhile, the Thunder, first in the West, have won 3 in a row, 7 of their last 8 games. By the way, 6 of their last 7 games have been on the road as well. Tonight is only their 3rd home game since November the 20th. Their last home game came on November 17th. Do you remember who they played on November 17th? At home?
Why would I know?
It was P.J. Washington and the Dallas Mavericks.
That's right. That's who the Mavericks beat.
Tim.
Come on, Tim. Now
Come on.
That's who the Mavericks
I
played.
know everyone on YouTube thinks you're a Thunder fan, so you should know this.
That is very true. No, they thought Nick was the Thunder guy.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay.
They knew Tim was the Mavs guy. They thought Nick was the Thunder guy.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't check those comments.
It's okay. The Oklahoma City Thunder, by the way,
I only check chat.
has the best point differential in the NBA at a near plus 12, which is a full 2 points better than both the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. What I'm trying to tell you is Oklahoma City has played like a juggernaut, and the numbers back it up so far this year, which gets us to a little bit of a scouting report, gentlemen. What are some of the things that the two of you are looking for in tonight's game as the Mavericks take on the Thunder?
So if you go back and rewatch the pregame show from that fateful November 17th tilt in Oklahoma City, I got very caveman-y. I was like, the Thunder don't have any big men. They don't have anybody playing tonight that's taller than 6'5" or 6'6". Like Shai was their tallest player, I think, in their lineup that night. So if you're taller than 6'6", go put your butt as close to the rim as possible and just turn around and reach up, and you'll score. And the Mavs did it. It was a brutal tactical masterpiece that the Mavs pulled off that night. Tons of points in the paint, tons of free throws, tons of putbacks. Unfortunately, it probably won't be that easy for them tonight because Isaiah Hartenstein is back. Big-time active rebounder, specifically on the offensive glass, so OKC's offensive glass. So, missing PJ really hurts in that regard because you figure one of the big men could occupy Hartenstein, boxing him out, and that allows PJ to swoop in. So that means Luka, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at Najee Marshall. I'm assuming Maxi's out, right? I don't want to spoil the injury report, but okay. I don't want to spoil the injury report, Tim and Kevin, but the Mavs don't have the size advantage tonight that they did last time. So if this looks closer to what we saw in the conference semifinals last season, that means shooters be ready. In that series, the Thunder did have a little more size. They had comparable size to what they'll have tonight. They played Lou Dort straight up on Luka. They doubled Kyrie, and they allowed corner threes. And so that means Najee Marshall. That means Klay effing Thompson. That means those kind of guys are going to need to be ready to shoot the ball. Spencer Dinwiddie be ready to shoot the ball if that's how the Thunder play. It won't be as brutal and as bruising and as head bashing into a brick wall as it was the last time the Mavs played. But there are points to be had if they can solve that puzzle.
Yeah, in the postseason, and I'm kind of coming at the other perspective, how Dallas is going to guard OKC. In the postseason, in that playoff series, especially early on, games 2, 3, 4, even 5 to an extent, what Dallas did so well was limit Oklahoma City in the paint, at the rim, and they did that because they didn't treat Chet Holmgren as a shooter. And so there's going to be about 30, 32, 34 minutes tonight where an actual non-shooter in Isaiah Hartenstein is going to be out there. That is an opportunity for Derek Lively to pinch into the paint, to offer that wall at the rim. On the flip side, Isaiah Hartenstein, I think compared to Chet Holmgren, he is not the shooter or the driver, but he is a very, very competent ball player with the ball in his hands. And so one way to mitigate, okay, well, they're not guarding you out at the three-point line, and you're just playing right into their strategy. If you go paint, you go stand in the paint and just condense everything more. I think Isaiah Hartenstein, I think we're going to see a lot of him in dribble handoffs. I think we're going to see a lot of him in pick and rolls.
He's a good passer.
He's a good passer. We're going to see him off the ball, setting screens, trying to spring shooters open. Because if you're playing if there's two players out there, obviously between Lively and whoever is guarding that shooter that Hartenstein is trying to spring open, yeah, two players can usually handle that action. But if Lively's way off down in the rim, not respecting his shot, all of a sudden it's a 2-on-1 on the weak side of the court. That's something to watch with players like Isaiah Joe, players like Jalen Williams.
And Jalen Williams especially so good at that 1-2 dribble pull-up from 18 feet. It's automatic for him. So if you are backing way off of Hartenstein, you better be ready to get out there and contest that shot. But if you get out too far, it's a dump-off pass to him for a dunk. So it's tough.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's not an easy thing to do, and I think Hartenstein is much better at being able to do that than Chet is. Chet's just not. he's not that polished as an offensive player yet. That's a very like veteran savvy type thing. That's something that Dwight Powell throughout his career got very, very good at and earned a lot of value that way. That's what like
we see Lively try and do that, and he gets a lot of offensive fouls doing that. Gavin gets a lot of offensive fouls, so it's tough to do that and be good at it while not breaking the rules.
Exactly that. So I think that's something to watch. For Dallas on the other end, I think some of it, like the game before, Dallas was able to get, not cheap buckets, but buckets outside of the context of their offense, where it was just caveman ball, bully ball. Just I'm bigger, I'm taller.
Take advantage of second chance opportunities.
F you, I'm going to score right over you. And those aren't going to be there quite as much, especially because PJ was a perfect person to go. If Dallas went into the game with a PJ available, PJ would still be able to find his moments to back down smaller guards because centers are occupying centers. That's not going to be there as much. Daniel Gafford's going to get some chances. No doubt when Hartenstein goes to the bench, but that's not going to be there as much. Also, Alex Caruso is back. I just think the perimeter defense is going to be it's going to be stifling. Oklahoma City is the only team in the league with more steals than turnovers this season.
Oh my God,
which is a ridiculous.
When I get to some of these numbers in a second.
Oh my God,
right? Because you got to remember, not every turnover is a steal, and so like even the steals that Oklahoma City generates has outpaced the number of times they have turned it over. So that's an incredible stat. The second place team has like minus 50 in that category, and Oklahoma City is a positive. So I think you're either going to need a truly great shot making game from one of Luka or Kyrie, or you're going to need two very good shot making nights from both of them. I guess I could see a scenario where Najee Marshall, even in limited minutes, is able to replicate something like that. But I think you're going to need either great shot making or very good shot making from the stars. That's something that you can expect. But because the perimeter defense is so good from Oklahoma City, at some point, you're just going to have to make tough shots. You can't expect to run the offense perfectly and fluidly, and that at every single point you're generating good shots. No, you will not generate good shots every possession. In fact, a lot of possessions you won't. You're going to have to make tough ones. Fortunately for Dallas, they have two of the best 5 or 6 shot makers in the entire NBA. They can do it. They're up for the task. Or they're capable of it. We'll see if they're up for the task.
Just to give you some of those numbers to back up what these guys are saying, the Thunder 9-3 over their last 12 games, number 2 in defensive rating at 104.1. They're a team that's number 1 in steals, averaging 11.8 steals per contest over their last 12 games. Number 2 in opponent effective field goal percentage. Number 2 in opponent field goal percentage overall. Number 3 in opponent three-point percentage. And also, by the way, they're number 1 in the league over the last 12 games, forcing nearly 19 turnovers per contest against their opponent. So a stingy defense that this Mavericks team is going to be facing. So they got to protect the ball. And as Tim mentioned, you got to shoot well against this team because they're not allowing teams to be able to shoot the basketball well, whether it be from 3 or in normal field goal range as well. But for the Mavericks, good thing over the last 12 games themselves, gentlemen, they are number 1 in the NBA in points per game, number 5 in field goal percentage, number 3 in three-point percentage. And oh, by the way, they're rebounding at a high clip as well, as they're number 2 in the NBA overall in rebounding, which allows this team to have a number 3 offensive rating at nearly 120 over the last 12 games. So to your point, the Mavericks have been doing the kind of shooting that's allowed them to have their offense humming, which has allowed their defense to be able to get set as well because they're making shots, allows them to get back on the other end to be able to play the kind of defense that they've been playing.
I'm worried about that rebounding without PJ Washington, though.
Sure.
Luka, get ready. To your point about turnovers, the Mavs, the last couple games have turned it over a little too much. Obviously, Memphis was really, really bad. But even in their games where they haven't committed a lot of turnovers, which is most of them, all right, this is a really good turnover team in Dallas. They still have had, it seems like, one quarter every game where they just, they commit 9 of their 14 turnovers in one quarter.
Double-digit turnovers in a quarter.
7 of their 11 turnovers in one quarter. And that is the kind of thing where that could turn an 8-point lead into an 8-point deficit, or a 4-point deficit into an 18-point deficit. And
against this team specifically.
Yeah, yes. And it just feels like it's over like that. So you have to play one possession. It's the most cliche BS of all time, but it is make sure you're crisp with your passes, make sure you're crisp with your catch. Be chill with the no looks. Just make sure that you're putting the ball on time and on target.
Yeah, this is a game where your fundamentals are what are going to help you stay in this game. Passing the ball, being able to protect the basketball, and doing all the little things against a team against Oklahoma City that likes to take advantage of your mistakes especially when it comes to turning you over. It's a matchup of MVP candidates as well when it comes to Luka Doncic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. SGA averaging nearly 30 points per game, 4th in the league. And oh, by the way, he's top 10 in steals so far this year as well, averaging 1.7 steals per game. His teammate, Jalen Williams, is 2nd in the league, averaging over 2 steals a game himself. But not to worry, Luka Doncic is also top 10 in steals so far himself. By the way, he is 5th in the NBA, averaging nearly 2 steals per contest. So Luka Doncic getting done on both the offensive and defensive end. More on the matchup for tonight's game, what you need to know, X factors, who's in and who's out as the Mavericks get ready to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder for the right to get to Vegas for the NBA Cup semifinals. But before we get there, I got to talk to you a little bit about Sleeper.
Yeah, so you guys already know we're doing a watch-along stream, so you're going to get to see me sweat out. Now, granted, this is only a $5 pick, but if I win, I'm going to win $31.50, and that's because on Sleeper, if you combine your picks, you can multiply your winnings up to 100 times your initial pick. So I'm taking Luka Doncic for more than 17.5 assists plus rebounds. He has back-to-back triple-doubles, so that seems like a layup for me. Isaiah Hartenstein, big-time rebounder, but I don't like 12 rebounds. I like him at more than 10 rebounds or 10 rebounds or more, I guess I should say. Let's keep scrolling down. How about Jalen Williams? He's known more as a pull-up guy, rim attacker, so I'm going to take him for less than 2.5 made threes. And then finally, Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie. I'm taking Spencer Dinwiddie for at least 10 points. He's going to be coming off the bench in this game, but with no Hardy, I don't want to spoil it, but no Hardy. Yeah. Najee on a minutes limit, no PJ. If someone's going to get shots from the corner, it's probably going to be Dinwiddie, and that dude is a dead-eye corner three-point shooter. So I'm looking for a big scoring game for Spencer Dinwiddie tonight.
So make sure you check out Sleeper, your largest deposit match offer ever, up to $1,500 when you join Sleeper today. You can be like Bobby and win yourself some money with some good picks tonight as the Mavericks.
Although taking the less thans, Kevin, I got to say, watching a game taking the less thans, this is not over until the final buzzer. Whereas if you whoa, there I am. Whereas if you take
how do we do that?
Whereas if you take a more than.
This is amazing.
Where is it? If you take the more than, once you hit the more than, you're just over. You can just chill for the rest of the game.
Because he's talking about Sleeper and he wants to get the people involved literally up close.
I was not expecting this.
This is what the studio looks like.
Hey,
there they are.
Look at that.
What a nice webcam.
I love
POV.
This.
You're on TV.
We're just testing out the watch along.
Tanner claims he has no idea how he did that, but I have doubts.
He just wanted to give you a preview of what the
culprit is in the room.
It's going to look like tonight. It's our first watch along as well.
Can I lodge a complaint though?
Oh, complaint already?
So my laptop, we look nice and like saturated and beautiful on this camera.
Saturated.
My laptop webcam just made it look so pale and dim and sad in here, and
and that's how we actually look.
No. Reality is much more like what you see here. It's not like Oz where you got to put on emerald glasses to see the green. No, it's always this colorful and awesome here in the DLLS studio.
It's rough.
It's cold outside.
Man.
Leave me alone.
You're looking like Kevin Durant's leg.
Oh, damn.
Jeez, dude.
Wow.
My God.
You came for Kevin Durant in his ashiness. That is crazy.
Well, you know what?
That
Kevin
is crazy
Durant's
work, Tim.
Lack
that is
of
nasty
skin
work,
hygiene,
my guy.
it came for his own self.
Golly, man.
He had control over this situation.
By the way, shout out to Wicked because we are clearly representing Wicked tonight with all the green
that we got
going on here.
Hey, what a great
here
movie.
on this particular show.
And you better believe if this turns into a blowout one way or the other, I'm just singing the soundtrack from memory in the fourth
We might have to
quarter.
get into some Wicked discourse if that's the case.
If Gortman's in the game, I'm singing Wicked. All right, because that means one
that
thing.
means the Mavericks must be either they're really doing really good or they're doing really, really bad.
Yeah.
Let's hope it's the good stuff tonight as the Mavericks take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. By the way, the two hottest teams in the Western Conference, Mavericks and Thunder, are combined 18-3 in the last 21 games, having lost only 3 times combined since November the 17th. Of course, the Mavericks beat the Thunder in their first meeting back on November 17th. The PJ Washington game, 27-17 in that game, as the Mavericks had 6 guys in double figures, including Kyrie Irving, who had 23 points. SGA had 36 in that loss, though. So the Mavericks got their hands full tonight as we get to who's in and who's out as far as the injury report is concerned between the Mavericks and the Thunder. We start on the Thunder side. Jalen Williams, Jaylin Williams. He's out with a right hamstring strain. And, of course, Chet Holmgren continues to remain out with his hip fracture. For the Mavericks, Dante Exum remains out with his right wrist injury. Jaden Hardy also continues to remain out with his right ankle sprain. Maxi Kleber will miss another game due to illness. Najee Marshall, though.
Jalen Suggs. What a shot.
It's a Mavericks pregame show. No, I'm just joking.
Are we not doing a
no,
watch
not
along?
yet. Yeah, that's
this
later
game?
for our game.
Then why is the game on? Why am I currently watching Bucks Magic?
You're being distracted. Najee Marshall, he is back tonight, though, for your Dallas Mavericks, and he will take the place of the absent PJ Washington.
But not literally.
But not literally. But he is
The starter is going to be Quentin Grimes. I don't know if you guys clocked that already.
No, we have not. But PJ Washington, he's going to be out with illness tonight. But that obviously gets us to the starting lineup. And you mentioned that Quentin Grimes is going to be in the starting lineup for your Dallas Mavericks alongside Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Derek Lively II, and of course I'm missing. They just left
Who starts
me.
for OKC?
Who starts for OKC?
Yeah, it's Shai, Jalen Williams,
Yes.
Hardenstein,
Yes.
Lou
Yes.
Dort,
Yes.
Caruso.
No, Caruso comes off the bench unless something changed.
not Isaiah Joe, right?
Okay. Well,
I thought how did you see the Mavs starting lineup?
I just looked at the Mavs one only.
Oh, so Coop Mavs always tweets out both. Oh, Case and Wallace starting for
okay,
OKC.
so that's right. That's
Okay.
right. That's right. Thank you. Sorry.
And Case and
I
Wallace
should've
had
known
a miserable game the last time the Mavs and Thunder played. And Case and Wallace is a great player, so there's a lot of ball handlers and speed to contend with. One thing that Case and Wallace does really well that the Mavs have to pay attention to, if you're loading up too much on the mid-range stuff and getting up high up the floor to guard those dribble handoffs, Kaysen is really good at moving corner to corner, or like making you think he's moving corner to corner to clear out, but really he just kind of camps like right on the edge of the lane, sort of in the dunker spot. So you have like a 6'2" guy in the dunker spot, you just flip pass to him and he just throws in a little push shot. So don't lose sight of those guys around the rim either.
I guess just to some of our X factors for tonight's game between the Mavericks and the Thunder, the winner advancing to Las Vegas for the semifinals. The loser of this game will play the loser between the Rockets and the Golden State Warriors. So interesting to pay attention to that as the quarterfinals continue.
Dude, is Jalen Suggs an all-star?
I mean, they have had now 3 All-Stars in a row that like Paolo was going to be a first-time All-Star, well, second-time All-Star.
Jalen, no, stay away. Don't get hurt.
Yeah, Paolo
his
was going to be
oblique.
Paolo was going to be All-NBA, and then he got hurt, and then Franz was going to be All-NBA, and then he got hurt. So I think Jalen Suggs is headed towards an All-NBA candidacy.
And the guys are referring to,
very
of
good.
course, the Orlando Magic taking on the Milwaukee Bucks. It is a 102-101 Orlando with 2 minutes left on the road in Milwaukee. The winner of that game advancing to Las Vegas for the semifinals. Let's get to our X factors for tonight's game.
AJ Green.
No,
We
it's
mentioned
all
it
foul.
a little bit earlier. The Mavericks have to protect the ball tonight. The Mavericks over the last 12 games, gentlemen, are committing nearly 16 turnovers per contest. That is 8th worst in the NBA during that span, as Oklahoma City forcing 19 turnovers per contest against their opponent over the last 12 games. If you're going to win tonight's game, if you're the Mavericks, you've got to find a way to ensure that you're not giving Oklahoma City extra possessions. As Bobby mentioned, OKC will take advantage of that in a big way, and you could find yourself on the business end of a blowout if you don't protect the basketball tonight.
They turned it over 16 times in the first regular season matchup. I think Luka back helps a lot. But you can still turn it over against this team. Everybody turns it over against this team. I think Luka needs to lead in that capacity. But, you know, even in the playoff series, Dallas was turning it over. They had games where they turned it over a bunch. It's going to happen to some extent, but the more you can minimize it, the better off you are. And Luka, yeah, step up. Be the adult in the room, as you so often are, and make sure, as much as, like, if there's a game where I think that Dallas doing this stuff where it's not always Luka bringing it up, that he's off ball a little bit, I think all of that is extremely important and good for the offense and for the long-term success of the season. I agree with Jason Kidd about that stuff. Maybe tonight, don't mess around with that. You commit 1 turnover in the backcourt from a player not named Luka Doncic or Kyrie Irving, I don't want to see that player dribbling it up the rest of the game. Like, that should be a pretty easy just plan for tonight if you're Dallas. Don't commit cheap turnovers just because, PJ, well, I guess not, just because Quentin Grimes has taken upon himself to go, free throw line to free throw line.
Kyrie Irving, by the way, at least 25 points in each of his last 5 road games, going to be helping out offensively for the Mavericks. Last couple ones before we get out of here, before we get to our watch-along for tonight's game. The Mavericks big men are going to loom large tonight as well. Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford versus Isaiah Hartenstein.
My goodness, Suggs.
Can Daniel Gafford take advantage of the non-Hartenstein minutes in tonight's game? Something that we'll be watching for. And finally, how does Luka attack this Oklahoma City defense? Doncic, of course, the reigning Western Conference Player of the Week, 2 consecutive triple-doubles, has been on fire for your Dallas Mavericks. How he plays and what he's done over the last 5 games, averaging over 30 points per game, shooting nearly 53% from the field while shooting over 42% from 3. The MVP candidate going to be on full display tonight as he faces another one in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It should be a lot of fun as the Dallas Mavericks take on the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight on the road. You can watch the game on TNT. Winner advances to Las Vegas for the semifinals of the NBA Cup. We will have our watch-along right here on DLLS Sports, so make sure you keep it locked and loaded right here with us.
It's a different stream. So this stream is going to end, but just go back to our page.
Yeah, in 10 minutes, come watch us watch the game.
That's right.
Come watch us.
Less than that.
We're doing it very soon. Very soon. Come watch us watch the game. We are doing it. We would like people to watch it.
Dame!
That's why we're doing it. Also, Dame just hit a big shot. We're going to be so far behind.
No.
We will have
We're not
our
that far
post-game
behind.
show
We're not that far behind.
immediately after the game is over with, about 15 minutes or so after the game is over with. So make sure you stick right here on DLLS Sports. For our Mavericks analyst, Bobby Carella, that's our Mavericks beat writer, Tim Cato. Marc's going to be joining us for the post-game show as well. My name is Kevin Gray. We'll talk to you here in just a little bit on the DLLS Mavs podcast. We'll talk to you later. Thanks.
We all silly like the mayor.